Brandian Ross spent 6 years in the NFL as a defensive back, playing for a number of teams, and then spent another several years as a scout for one of the best teams when it comes to player evaluation, when it comes to just being an NFL franchise that you'll find out there. He is our guest today on the Scouting the League podcast. Brandon, appreciate you joining us today, brother.
Thanks for having me on, Neil. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. All right, let's start a little bit with your playing career, man. Okay, you came out of the mighty powerhouse, and I'm not. Don't say this ironically. When it comes to FCS programs, Youngstown State, the Penguins do it right. How'd you wind up there? And did you ever worry that scouts wouldn't find you in kind of central Ohio, more or less?
Yeah, I went there because John Haycock, who's the defensive coordinator at Iowa State now, um, he was on it. Him and the actual coach who recruited me, Coach Antoine Smith, they showed up to my high school. I mean, I want to say back-to-back weeks, and it was more so how it wasn't just about football. Granted, that was what I was stressing. He was stressing, to my parents in terms of, safety, taking care of me, like he was his, like I was his own child. Because my whole thing is I didn't want to be in Virginia. So unless I was going to Virginia Tech at the time and going to play for Bud Foster and Frank Beamer, I did not want to be in Virginia. I wanted to grow as a young man and as a player, and I wanted the opportunity to play as a true freshman. That was my biggest thing because I could have went to Fork Union and did that whole thing and then transferred, but I'm like I'm a good football player despite my size at the time. I was 5'10", 170 maybe,
Mhm.
um on a good day. So he gave me the opportunity to just compete to play. I don't need no promises. Just give me the opportunity to travel to Ohio State as a true freshman, and I'll earn my way. And like that's what he promised me, and he stood by it. And I played as a true freshman. I went and earned it, of course, but like that was the biggest thing. It was Coach Haycock, just telling my parents like this is bigger than football. We're trying to help him be a man, and like once my parents heard that, because the decision was totally mine. Once they heard that, they were on board for when I went to the visit by myself. My parents couldn't come. So I go there by myself, and I'm keeping them updated, and I go back and I tell them. And then Coach Haycock comes the following week. He sees me at basketball practice, I believe, and they talk again, and like he just reiterated the same things, and it was kind of I was just I was locked in from there just because of who he was as a man, more so than anything that has to do with football.
Mhm, mhm. Now, obviously, that was way pre-portal. Did you ever think about trying to go to a bigger program or look at transferring or anything like that?
Yeah, so we went, I want to say we went 7-5 my junior year, and they fired Coach Haycock. I was ready to transfer. I had a whole redshirt year, and at the time you had to sit out when you transfer, so it would have worked out perfectly for me to transfer, sit out a year, and then play as a fifth year senior. But he talked me out of it. He legitimately talked me out of it and said, "Finish what you started." Guys rely on you there, things like that. So I stayed, but yeah, transferring was definitely on the table.
Did it ever get as far as looking at schools and really considering where you might
Yeah.
fit there?
Oh yeah. Oh
Really?
yeah. I was going to, well, the messed up part was I was going to transfer in the conference. I was going to, I was thinking about North Dakota State. This was before they started their run,
Right.
but we had beat them twice. Like they were ranked top five in the country, and we'll always beat them. So I'm like, they could use my help because I play well against them every year. Like I dominated them. So I'm sitting there like, yeah, let me go there and play Youngstown. But he said, yeah, don't do that. He advised against it. I'm like, all right, I won't do it. But it was some other schools I was thinking about as well. But he legitimately talked me out of it because I was pissed that they fired him.
Hmm. No, I like the fire, man. I kind of feel the same way. Yeah, best friend or worst enemy, man.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So from there, you kind of started, obviously, NFL career and
Hmm.
several teams, but
Yep.
lengthy career. And that's, which you can't say, certainly not every NFL scout can say that these days. What was it in you that made you think, I'd like to go out and maybe try to evaluate players professionally?
Yeah, it really wasn't me. Um, it was Elliot Wolf and Alonzo Highsmith. Those were the guys who saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. It was more so like they called for a interview for for the internship in Green Bay, and I'm like, sure, whatever. And even when I got there, I had like potential coaching offers to go coach DBs, to go coach with Coach Haycock, or go coach with Coach Bo Pelini when he was the head coach at Youngstown.
Hmm.
So I had like that avenue that I was thinking about as well, and those two were like, yeah, you're like really like you're good at this, and you're only going to get better, you know. And it's way more stability. So those two were really the guys who got me into it because outside of that, I really it really wasn't on my radar.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, now I've heard stories from a lot of people about what it takes to get hired by the Packers as a scout. Was it pretty rigorous for you? What did that process look like?
Uh, I wouldn't say it was rigorous. It was challenging just because as a player, as a former player, I didn't want to come in even in my interview and act like a know-it-all. But like some stuff I do know. I just, I can turn on the tape and just I see things kind of naturally. So I remember the process though. We got there on a early morning and we had to watch. I had to watch Devontae Adams, Morgan Burnett, Brian Balaga, Jake Ryan, and there's one more. I can't remember who. It was one more player. Had to watch five players, and you had to handwrite the report. Then from there, and that took all day. Like they showed you the grading scale and like how to use it, and you gave grades for the players. Then you had to turn around and present to it was the entire scouting staff.
Wow.
So so and we didn't do it in like the draft room, how they did it for the guys that I seen go through the same program. They did it in at the time. Goody was the DPP, I think, and we did it in his office. So it's like it's a nice size office, but it's not that big. And you're sitting with your back on the wall, and just I mean, college scouts are there, everybody. I'm just like, okay, and they say, tell us about Devontae. And it's not reading your report, it's presenting the report and you do it right there on the spot.
Mhm.
But I had like, talking in front of people has never been an issue for me just in terms of like being comfortable doing it.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, that's it? We're just talking ball? Oh, I got comfortable. I sat back and said, yeah, oh yeah, Devontae's next up. He's this, he's that, Balaga, and I go through everybody and just like, all right, that's it. Like I was good, and they asked some follow up questions. Like it was just talking ball, so I didn't see it as rigorous in that regard. Other guys I heard like they struggled because they couldn't take what they wrote and formulate it into an opinion. And like what made me comfortable was like I remember it. Zoe says, yeah, we're just talking ball. Oh, well, come on. We can do this all day. This is what I do. So, it wasn't rigorous in that regard. It wasn't rigorous until I got there and did the internship where where you get a list of all the reports you have to write for college and pro. And then I'm sitting there like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this because you have to do it by the end of training camp. The
Mhm.
issue is you have to go to practice, you have to do all the other work and get your work done. So I'm coming in super early and I'm staying super late. So that was rigorous in terms of just the volume of reports because I want to say it was 40 or 50 pro guys, another 40 or 50 college guys. So writing that number of reports in a 4 week span when you haven't done it before, that was rigorous. That was tough, but it trained me for the future.
Mhm. Now, at that point, were they sending you on school visits, or was that still too early to be doing that kind of thing?
I didn't go on school visits until probably like week 6, week 7 of the regular season. and I went with uh John Eric Sullivan. I went with him on we went to Kansas, Kansas State, Missouri, Nebraska, I think. We did that whole little swing. I
Mhm.
drove the whole time to get used to it because he was like you're going to be a college scout at some point, so get used to it. I'm like, all right, whatever. And like I don't mind driving, so and the drives weren't long, so we're driving through all these places, and it was just foreshadowing that I would have the area, the very next year. But
Mhm.
yeah, it took about almost half the season for me to do a school call, and then a couple weeks after that, I went into Illinois State to do because someone it's a thing where if a small school guy gets a certain grade, then someone has to go in behind them and watch him,
Mhm.
grade him. So I was closest guy, and that was the first school call I did by myself.
Mhm. Okay. And we're going into this detail because it fascinates me. I've talked about this at length on this podcast, but what the Packers do, what they did to prepare you to be a road scout, the hurdles you had to climb, the hoops you had to jump through is a
Yeah,
rarity now. And we're seeing even some schools, some teams that are hiring people straight out of college basically and put them straight on the road. And I don't know how they can be anything
yeah,
more than strictly an information gatherer. And when I say that, going out and getting drills times and maybe how many times they failed a whiz quiz versus
yeah,
going out and actually getting an opinion about a player and coming back and being say this guy can play. And this,
yeah. Like I think you need that time, and to me, like Green Bay does it the same way they do drafts, just in terms of like development. Like they're known for drafting, developing, trying to keep talent at home. Signing a couple free agents here and there who are impact guys, but like, most of the talent's homegrown. And that's the same for the scouting staff. A lot of guys did exactly what I did. They went through the internship, scouting assistant, college scout, and those guys have worked their way up. Only like a handful of guys who started in Green Bay didn't start as an intern, but most of them started by doing NFS, which is way harder.
right.
Like that's a whole nother animal, right?
For
Um, yeah, so like it's and like they the way it was always explained to me is like you are the GM of your area. That's that's your role. And like in order to get to that point confidently, I don't think you can go straight from college not knowing anything and go into being a college scout. Like I think you need one, it's how much information, not that you're getting from teams, but like how to ask certain questions, how to go about, you know, and knowing in your building who knows who. So now I can say, hey, so and so told me to reach out, asked about you. So now I have a gateway into a lot more information than more other younger scouts because I know that okay, he used to work with John Eric when they were in Southeast 10 years ago. Okay, I'll mention that, build a connection. He'll ask how John Eric's doing. Oh, he has three daughters. They're growing up. John Eric's good. You should give him a call sometime. And now I have my way in. So when all the other young scouts aren't getting any information, I'm sitting there lathering up, just like, oh, I'm good because he's going to call me after, or we're going to see it privately. That's what happened at Iowa. I never forget it. Coach Doyle. Coach Doyle was very strict on who he talked about. Like the rules were always laid out.
right.
So I remember going in with John Eric on a visit, or no, during a pro day. It was when I was about to take over that area, and he introduces me, all that stuff. I meet him, shake his hand, ask him some questions, left it at that. I go back and I always just, I always, ask about his son, things like that. There's one day where a scout goes in, and it was the rule at Iowa was you never ask about juniors. When they're ready to talk about juniors, granted, TJ Hawkinson's coming out, no offense, it was that draft class, and it's like you don't ask about them.
Mhm.
So, some young scout, fresh out of college, asks about juniors. Coach Doyle, day over. They go home.
For
Day's over.
everybody.
Everybody done.
Wow.
So, but me being me, he was like, no, no, not you. We'll talk later. Go ahead, finish watching film. All because I built a rapport through someone who worked in my building. Like it takes time. Like you can't just go into these schools and expect just because you have a logo on for coaches to tell you what you need to know. Like, so I don't, think it's important to understand that it's the network of people within your building that help you when it comes to gathering information. Because all the information that they give you it's always more out there.
Yeah.
Just have to have the relationship to get it.
Well, and I think you've made a point already, and I don't mean to trivialize it, but it is so
Mm,
important to ask people about their families and show that you
absolutely.
care about who they are rather than just who their players are and that kind of thing, and mean it when you say it,
A
not
hun-
because you're just running
that
through,
part.
you know.
Yeah, it's a like I always so I have this thing and I think I learned it from my dad subconsciously where he doesn't ask anyone how they're doing unless he really wants to know. If he doesn't want to know, he's not going to ask. And like I'm the same way where like if I ask how you're doing, I legitimately want to make sure that you're good. Like
Right,
internally, not with work or football, just how are you doing as a human being, person to person.
right,
And I took that with me in terms of scouting where I can spend 15, 20 minutes just talking to you. We're talking about life.
yeah,
We're not that other stuff football will always be there. Like that's why I'm thankful for technology. If I need to really dive into something, I build that relationship to where I can call, I can FaceTime, and he'll pick up and say, "Oh, you know what? I forgot about you. Let me let me give you all this stuff. What is the best time?" You don't have to be fake about it. Like at the end of the day, I get it, it's transactional, but you're still dealing with people, and like people love to be asked how they're doing, and not in a dismissive way to get through the conversation. Just ask, like learn. Like I used to go on the media guide, and okay, he has three kids. Are they Packers fans? What size they wear? Let me see some shirts, some hats, things like that. And like again, like I was taught that in Green Bay. Like it was like, listen, these are relationships that last for a long time.
mhm,
Like go in with it that you're trying to have this for the next 10, 20 years. And that's how I always went about it. Like if I asked about their kids, hey, I genuinely want to know. Like how's soccer season going? Because when you ask, I'm going to tell you about I mean, I'm gonna tell you the same exact thing with excitement because people love their children, people love their family, so I want to show them that respect and that love. So I'm very very big on that. Like be thorough and be genuine because outside of that, if I don't want to know, guess what? I won't ask.
I get it, man. What's part of being genuine, obviously. Okay, so on that topic, there are a number of very successful executives, evaluators, etc., that you worked with in Green Bay.
Oh
They're all
yeah,
over the league now. I'm going to throw some names at you. I just want you to give me a couple sentences on them based on what you're working with them or just what
yeah.
thing in your mind. Elliot Wolf, Executive Vice President of Player Personnel for the Patriots.
Elliot Elliot was the first so he graded my reports solely by himself my first year. So everything I've learned in terms of how to structure write reports and just his eye for the game. Like it's everybody's eye is a little different and you can pick things in terms of just how they see things. But Elliot was really big on the details. Like just all the little things within your report. Like say this instead of this because this sounds clearer. This leaves no gray area. With this word, it can mean a array of things. And no and like that's one of the things I really took from him is just understand like the details matter because you don't want to leave gray area in your report.
Hmm. Hmm. No doubt. Alonzo Highsmith, Senior Personnel Executive of the Patriots.
Uh I love Uncle Zoe. Um he was So he taught me how to work as a scout. Um, I remember when he would go on the road for a week or two. He'll come back in the office, and I'm going straight to his office, and I spend as much time with him as possible watching tape. Like I want to learn what's the difference in a fourth round pick and a fifth round pick? Why is this guy's going top of the second and the bottom of the second? Like, why, like the why? He always gave me a why, which is why I always love going to him. But he was also the guy who told me when you're on the road, just get all your work done that night. Don't because he's like, if you let things pile up,
Hmm.
it makes for a long week. And then he was like, when you're home, be home.
Hmm.
so that you can, be with your family, be with your kids, take your wife out to dinner. It's like, but when you're home, be home. Only way to do that, sometimes you got to stay up late, sometimes you got to get up early, but be home, be present. And that was some of the best advice I got in terms of scouting.
And I think that's critical, a critical lesson. And I hear that all the time from scouts when I talk to them. Charles Walls, VP of Player Personnel for the Eagles.
That's my guy. Me and him, we're both from Virginia, so it was we had that instant connection. But Charles taught me how to stand my ground. When you see something, when you believe it, when you know it, like it's a certain it's a certain level of respect you always show, right? But at the same time, you can't back down. And Charles showed me how to do that in a manner that's respectful yet firm. That's why I always tell him, like, you are like, if you were any bigger, people would be scared of you. But no, like, Charles really taught me how to be firm in what I see. Don't back down. And if I'm wrong, hey, stand on it. I'm wrong. I missed. That's fine. But at the same time, know what you don't know, and stand firm.
Okay. Critical lesson for a scout, obviously. Brian Gutekunst,
Absolutely.
GM of the Packers.
Goody. Goody, Goody was the one who also, along with Elliot and Zoe, told me don't go into coaching because his dad was a coach for a long time. Yeah, he was like, yeah, you don't want to do that. But no, Goody taught me about finding, like, the nuances within, like, players in terms of just the small things in terms of, you know like, the way a guy's built. Well, if he's built a certain way, he can only move, but certain ways. Because I would always ask him when I would present an old lineman, um, and, like, we might see him the same, but it'd be certain terms and words he used. Well, like, well, why isn't he going to be able to handle power? Well, because he's narrow through his hips. He doesn't have any hips, small waist, like, and he'll take me through that. I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? So it was his ability to take something that was complex to me at the time, especially with old linemen, and break them down, like, well, this is how this guy can survive, and they're built similar, but this, if his hands are bigger, his arms are longer, this is why, and he would take me through his kind of thought process of, when he's building a board on that side of the ball, especially, like, yeah, this guy here is going to be a good player, but the value of him right now is right here. And it's just like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I'm looking as a scout sometimes. I'm just looking at 3, 4 years down the line, like, this is what he's going to be ultimately. And Goody might be looking at short term. Okay, I can get him here and know that he's going to be that. So he really taught me just understand the nuances of how guys are built, and how that translates into how they play.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. John Eric Sullivan, VP of Player Personnel for the Packers.
Yeah, Sully. Sully, Sully told me how to be a college scout. He was my college director before Matt took over. But just in terms of the logistics of, like, if people don't understand how much we travel as college scouts. Like, it's, do you fly? Do you drive? What makes sense as a flight? What makes sense for a drive? Like, he taught me how to manage all of that because it's a lot. It is a lot to deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's not like you have someone doing it for you or assisting you with it. It's all you. So, he'll tell me, when you make your calendar in August and you're planning out your drives, like there are always going to be hiccups and bumps in the road, just in terms of, like, a team might say, yeah, we're open on Wednesday. Then it's week 3 of the season when you're supposed to go there on Wednesday, and they close. Why? Because they're 0-2 now, or they're 0-3. Like, coaches don't have to have a reason. They can just change it. And, like, he taught me how to maneuver through that, and how to build those relationships so that I'm able to maneuver through that and around it, so that, okay, they're closed for y'all,
Mhm.
not for me. So he was really big on people, and, like, anywhere I would go, like, people love John Eric, like, love him. Like, people always speak so highly of him. So he told me that, like your name and your work, like it means more than what you think, because everyone's watching you.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Last one, Chad Brinker, president of football operations for the Titans.
Brink. I miss Brink. Brink taught me how to challenge the norms, processes, systems. Just he was like, we should always be trying to get better within your own personal process, within the team process. The object is to get better, win to help us win. Like if the process doesn't help us win, then it's inefficient. But he was like, with him it was all about the processes and being efficient with our time, with our resources. Like don't waste time in places where we don't need to be. And that was the same thing with watching players. Like as a college scout, when you have to watch, 20 guys at Texas, he told me like take away guys who can't play for us. Let's just get rid of them first. Then, that list might be down to 14, 12. Now you can hone in and focus on your process now. But yeah, Brink was really big on that and I take that with me everywhere.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. Now, obviously, defensive backs. You were one. You played in the league. You were a scout. Speed is important. Hips are important. A number of things are important. What's the most overlooked but essential quality for a cornerback?
Instincts. It's like instincts and like people say you can train them and to a certain degree you can. But it's instincts and then reacting off what you see because a lot of guys see it, they don't react. I think instincts tend to get overlooked because it can be seen as playing too aggressive. But when you're prepared, that's why I always loved and hated playing with Charles Woodson because once I learned how to prepare like him and I start seeing the same things, I'm like, oh, this is okay. But then I realized I'm at safety. I can't leave my job. But him being him, he'll leave and go see something. And I was just like, I get it, super instinctive, but you are putting me in a rough spot. So with DBs, with corners especially, like to me, instincts tend to get overlooked, but instincts lead to more big plays than your actual hips and feet, honestly.
Mhm, mhm. And is there any way to gauge instincts other than film?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And the only reason I say that is because it's like instincts are more action oriented, just in terms of um you know baiting quarterbacks to throws that they shouldn't make, um understanding route concepts and how to play high and low in between them. Some of that is awareness, but a lot of it is just saying, okay, I know I have a drag coming from the other side. I can play back a little bit longer and hopefully he throws it and go, make a play on the ball. Yeah, I think film is the only way to actually see instincts.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. Now, you mentioned the fact that when you were going through the interview process, they gave you a number of players at different positions.
Yep.
How long did it take you to feel as adept at grading a guard or a center or a tackle as you do at grading a corner or a free safety or even a receiver?
Yeah, so it's really a two-part answer because on the pro side, the O lineman and D lineman were easier to me
Really?
because it was kind of you could do it or you couldn't. Whereas in college, it probably took me like 3 years, honestly, like 3 good years of me missing on guys, me hitting on guys, and then going back to like, why did I miss? Why did I hit? And um, yeah, I would say it took yeah three long years because in college it's all about projection, what he possibly could be. But then you look at maybe how we coach him is going to be more beneficial or the system. Like it's so many variables up
Mhm.
front. You know, well, this guy he's playing tackle in college, but he's probably going to be guard. Well, he should be a better fit at guard because he's a solid foot athlete on the outside, but inside he'd be a really good foot athlete because guards don't play in space, tackles do. So it's understanding like those kind of subtle things that took time, because no 2 years are the same in draft classes. Like it might be guys who are comparable, but I don't like doing comparables because like they're really different. Every guy's different. Especially up front. Uh, then there's some guys who never played let's say it's a center who's only played center, but we see him as a guard now. He's never played guard, and it's working through all of that kind of stuff where at DB is, I can look within a couple snaps, be like, all right, he can do this, he does this well, he can't do that. O line to me, it took more time just because I haven't done it. Like I understood the job, but physically I always appreciate the O line and D line because like they hit every play. Like that is a battle amongst like some gargantuan men down there. So so yeah, it took about 3 long years to understand like the nuances of those battles and really the why. Like once I understood why things kind of happen, it became a lot easier.
One thing that as I've studied the draft and all this kind of stuff over the years, I come to realize the importance of development, what they are after draft day.
Yep.
Brandon, how much of a player's success is finding the guy that can play, and how much of it is turning him into that player that you need him to be? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40 one way or the
Oh,
other? Is he 90-10 one way or the other?
that's a good question. I would say it's more 50-50, maybe 60-40, because when you
60-40
look
one
at it,
play.
60-40 of turning them into that.
Okay.
Because when you look at um let me think, Justin Fields, right? The issue early on to me, I thought he struggled processing different coverages. But
Mhm.
then when you look at he wasn't supported. 3 different coordinators.
Mhm.
Offensive line wasn't good. It wasn't tailored for how he plays, how he's built, where you could run him a little bit more than some other guys, right? Um, but like the talent was kind of always there. Like you always saw the talent. But if it's not supported, what good does that talent do you? So I think it's probably 60-40. Like, of course you want guys who can play, but within that, you need a system of support that helps the player get to reach his maximal potential. I mean, how many guys have we seen where they start at one place, they don't play well, go somewhere else? Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, like
You know,
just quarterbacks off the top of my head.
go right down the list of guys that
Yeah, it's where you said that Baker Mayfield. So you tell me Baker Mayfield wasn't the same guy? Elliot Wolf hit him on the head. Like he loved him. I remember it. And he wasn't even in Green Bay. I just remember the conversation I had with him. It's like if you don't give that player said support to grow and develop within those systems, then it's like, of course he's gonna fail.
which
But
is
now you look at Baker, like Baker's having a great year.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Sam Darnold's playing well. Daniel Jones is playing well. So it wasn't the talent; it was the lack of actual support behind them that that prevented them from actually being what everyone thought they were when they were high first round draft picks.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so speaking of quarterbacks, the Packers have shown a consistent ability to draft and develop their quarterbacks from Favre to Rodgers to Love. What's the secret sauce, Brandon? What are they doing differently that others aren't?
Okay, I remember. So it's this room in Green Bay, and it's called the Harry Potter room because it's no windows and a whole bunch of other stuff. But that's where all the scouting assistants or the interns would go to watch tape. I remember being in there one day and people always tell me, "Hey, Ron Wolf might stop by," and he drops in and I'm watching the guy. I'm just like, "Oh snap, that's like Ron Wolf." So I'm like, no, come on, man. So I start asking him questions. When did you know? How do you? And he said it, and evidently he passed this down to everyone in that building because I always heard it after he told me. It was like, you don't get insurance after you need insurance. He said you get it beforehand, you pay on it, and hopefully you don't need it. But if you do, it's fully matured and developed. He says the same thing for quarterbacks, essentially. Like it was like you don't draft a quarterback when you need one. Draft one before you need one. You let him develop, let him sit, learn, deal with everything that comes with it on the side, and when he's ready, he'll be ready. And to me, that's the biggest difference in in how Green Bay does it. You don't draft a quarterback like had we not drafted Jordan and Aaron plays for another 3 or 4 years there, and now we're sitting waiting for a quarter. Like now it's we don't have one, and now we need one. Well, that's what every other team does. That's why they consistently pick in the top 10
Mhm.
because they draft them when they need them, opposed to just always drafting them. I mean, when you and then I went back and looked at how Ron Wolf draft quarterbacks. Like he had Favre and he drafted Mark Brunell, Aaron Brooks, just a plethora of guys and develop, trade because none of them could really take a spot. And then Ted turned around, did the same thing. Aaron's the best player right there, sitting on your board. You take him, you let him sit. And Favre decides to walk. Aaron comes in, and to me, I mean, it just makes sense.
Mhm.
Like as uncomfortable as that may be, every other position has competition, right? Quarterback, yeah, that's
And I
the,
think then that's
the
a
same
that's an
thing.
important point, Brandon. Do you think teams avoid doing that because of the discomfort with it? Because man, it was awkward the changeover from Favre
It
to Rodgers.
was.
It was
It
awkward
was.
changeover from Rodgers to Love. Do you think
Yeah,
teams want to kind of avoid that?
they 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 definitely do it to try to not be in that situation and protect the quarterback's ego. But when you're talking about like what's best for the team, like do you want us to win or do you just want to be the starting quarterback,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And to me, that's what it would come down to. Now, with that being said, I would I would I would talk to my guy. I would. I would, sit there and go. And I remember Goody saying that. He was like, if I would have done anything differently, that's what I would have done. I would have told him kind of like pre-draft, like, listen, this is what we're thinking, you know, just because out of a respect thing.
Sure.
And I remember him telling me that he was like, if that's the only thing that I probably would have done differently in terms of Jordan and Aaron is I would have communicated better with Aaron, been the initiator,
Mhm.
so that he understands what I'm thinking, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's teams don't do it because they're trying to protect the player's ego
Mhm.
and they're and things like that. But at the end of the day, your job is to build a winning team, and if drafting a quarterback in the first second round is going to help you in 3 or 4 years because your quarterback is either older, eating up cap space, whatever the case may be, then I think you should definitely have that discussion with him so that it kind of eases the eases the blow a little bit, and he's not caught off guard. But ultimately, you always have to do what's best in terms of building your team.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. All right, now Brandon, any scout who's worth his snuff, who's been around at all, he had a guy that he was high on that nobody else was high on, and he was proven right. And then by the same token, he's got a guy out there that he thought, man, they're crazy to think this guy can play, and it turned out that he could. Can you think of an example on both sides? I mean, again, we're all wrong sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah,
everyone's right,
yeah.
wrong and right sometimes. I mean, can you think of any players that kind of are emblematic of that?
So the guy I was high on that, like when I say I love this dude as a player, like I was pissed we didn't take him in. I was so mad. Was Jalen Petrie? I like again as a DB, it didn't take long. I turned on the tape. I'm like, bro, he's everywhere. Like he can get sacks, he forces fumbles, he gets picks. And like his size is what scared us off in Green Bay. I want to say he measured at 5'10" 2", like a buck 88, buck 90. But I'm like, he's a nickel who can play safety, But at the time, we weren't a 4-3 team. We were 3-4 and played with more a traditional nickel who can cover and all this stuff. Whereas now they play with a safety at nickel and Javon Bullard. I'm like, Petrie was that guy, but he was a playmaker. Like guys who make plays on the ball, like that doesn't change. It doesn't because they tend to have a knack for making plays on the ball. Like they're instinctive. That's why they make plays. Like opposed to just going for the sack, they go for the strip fumble. Like is that coaching a little bit? And then some of it they just always want the ball. And I'm just like, oh, this dude would make us so much better. I was like, I know that was one. I'm like, listen, I don't know a lot, but I'm telling you what I know. For the value and the pick, this dude makes our defense better. He makes us
Sure.
faster. He makes us more aggressive. Is he going to miss tackles? Absolutely. He's 5'10" to buck 90. I get it. Well, he's running so fast. He can miss a tackle, get up, and make the tackle. Like I'm just, I was that was one guy I was. I love watching his tape in college at Baylor. Even now, like still heck of a player. So that was one guy I was like, I just wish we would have just took him.
Hmm. The other side of the coin. Anyone you
Other
really
side,
sold on and didn't work out?
yeah. Laviska Shenault,
Yeah.
Laviska Shenault,
You're the
safety from
only one.
Colorado.
And he was such a weapon at Colorado.
That's what I kind of saw him as, like how San Fran was using Debo Samuel.
Mhm.
I thought he could be that. I thought he was more of a positionless player and more of a guy you just get the ball to. Um, how the Packers are using Savion Williams right now, giving him wildcat snaps, getting them touches,
Mhm.
right? That's what I thought Laviska could be, but at a high level. I thought he was an old school X because at the time he was, I want to say he's like 6'1", 6'2". He was about 220 something coming out. He was a big dude and he played strong. He's played on a bad team, like played on some bad Colorado teams. But he never him and Terrace Marshall, like they never to me never reached their full potential. Because I thought Terrace Marshall, I'm like, bro, he can play inside outside, but as an inside player, like he's really good. He has good spatial awareness. He's long. He's faster than you think. But then what ended up to me, what hurt him is like he wasn't strong at the top of routes, and guys were able to stay on him. Um, and strength within contact is pivotal for DBs, receivers, O linemen, D linemen. Like you have to be able to play through contact, and Terrace Marshall couldn't play through contact all the time, and Laviska injury bug was a thing with him. So yeah, those were two guys where I was just like, ah, like where did I go wrong? But then going back and looking at it, I see exactly exactly where I went wrong.
Mhm. No, that's important. Most important thing is to learn from mistakes, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay. Um, one more hit on kind of when your time with the Packers. When you were making visits, which were the visits that do you remember schools specifically that where you're like, man, this is going to be a great visit. They did things differently. Which
Mm.
schools were they, and what did they do differently that made the visit better?
Oh, it's a that's a that's oh that's a that's a lot. Trying to think. Big schools who did things differently. I won't say they even did things differently. It was just they were pretty open. It was Oklahoma was pretty open. When like they I mean they didn't I mean like they have I think they have more restrictions now,
Sure.
but this was, like they were, I talk to anybody about anything. Like they were just, I could talk to the juniors myself. They're like, so like, let's say they didn't have practice, or they had a walkthrough and it wasn't going to be long. They'll bring who we need to see. Like if it's a junior, they'll bring them to us. Let us talk to him for a second. Like I talked to Tyler Guyton, got to see him in person and see how, all this stuff that like I would see at a game, but seeing it like face to face and just having an interaction, talking and then going straight from there, talking right to the O-line coach about like it was they just, they were open. Texas was like that. Um, Trying to think who else. UTSA is my favorite visit.
Really?
They they take great care of you. Yeah,
Interesting.
great care of you.
Okay.
Coach Trailer is he's one of those guys. It's like whatever you need.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's whatever we need. And then like they will always feed us because they practice early. They practice super early in the morning. Like pre-Starbucks is probably open. Like it is super early when you get there. So they'll they'll feed us breakfast, stay there. If you need to watch film, talk, stay there. Then they'll feed us lunch. Underrated visit for sure, but it was always always a good visit. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's every school is so different. Every coach year to year can be different. Who else? Nope, that wasn't a good visit. TCU under Coach Dykes was really good. They were the same way. Like they, whatever you need. That it made being there fun. And granted, I live 15 minutes away, so it made it really easy for me to be like, hey, I'm about to pop in. Can I? I'm like, oh yeah, come on. And just Coach Dykes was great. Like we could be at practice as long as we want. Talk to whoever we need. Like they made everyone accessible for us. So Coach Dykes was great too.
Okay. Okay. All right. So film room advisory is your new project. You're
Yep.
home boss. You're calling your own shots, man. Tell us a little
Oh
bit about
yeah.
what it does, what your goals are for it, who you're working for, who you're trying to work with, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah. So the film room advisory is to negate what you talked about in terms of a guy going straight from college unprepared and going to an NFL team. Um, I want to prepare guys for what it's really like to do the job your first 3 to 4 years. Whether you're a college scout, you're a pro scout, scouting assistant, like this is what you're going to have to learn. And so, opposed to learning when you get there, you can already know by working with me. It's a it's a way for people to again understand the day-to-day job of what it's really like to be a scout because people think they know, I get to write reports. Reports are like that's the easy part. That is very easy when it comes to scouting. The hard part is everything else around it that you have to do, where you're going to be trusted with certain information that you can't say anything about. So I hope you're not a big social media. No, you can't post. No, absolutely not. Things like train people in the way in which I was trained so that um all these teams in the NFL and in college have a reliable pool of guys to go get talented evaluators from. I want to create a system where if teams are hiring, they say, "B Ross, who you have?" And I give them my top five candidates, and they bring them in for interviews. That's ultimately my goal is so that I have a pool of scouts that colleges and pro teams can pull from to hire.
How do you find those players, Brandon? Players? How do you find those people that want to be scouts that want to learn? How do
Yeah.
you develop that pool?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn a lot because that's where so when I was scouting, that's where I would get so many inquiries. How do I get into scouting? How to get into scouting? And that was why I even started the company because I had an inbox of 250 messages of like, I want to do this. I
Mhm.
said, oh, okay. So it's people who excuse me, who really want to do this. And it's like, okay, I can help you get there, but first I have to train you. I have to teach you how to do it. Because what you think you know, what other places do, that ain't it. This is how it's going to be done 95% of the time. It might be a couple teams that do it differently, but for the most part, this is what it's going to look like. And again, like I want to teach guys what I was taught from all those executives you name. Like I have a wealth of information in me that okay, this is what they taught me. So guess what? They are hiring. Let me let me put them guys in touch with. Okay, hey, I got these guys, scouting assistant times, blah blah blah, whatever the case may be. But I found them through LinkedIn, through other people who know me, reaching out and saying, I have a guy that wants to get into scouting, and just word of mouth.
Mhm. Okay, I got you. Now, what percentage of it is actual film room stuff, Brandon? And what percentage of it is pretty much what we've been talking about for the past hour, building relationships, knowing how to maintain those relationships, how to stand up for yourself, but also be respectful. All the what I would call the
Yeah,
soft skills that are part of being a scout. What's the breakdown there, the balance?
it's a it's probably an even split. Like I have an 8 week course, and we're gonna start class on the 15th. So it's still time to sign up. But it's a way we go through everything, and I mean I'm talking about from how to write reports and like what what I really dive into is how to write reports for multiple guys that you're watching at the same time. No one talks about that.
Mhm,
Like when you're a college scout or when you're a pro scout, you got to watch every guy on the field.
mhm,
How do you write that report? How do you organize your notes to where I'm writing about the left guard, the left tackle, the center, the right? I'm writing about everybody on the field.
Mhm.
How do you organize that? Not just I'm watching one guy write the report. That'll take forever to write as many guys as you have to write. And then and then it'll be, teaching them how to present, teaching them how to cultivate those relationships and introducing them to people within my network whom they can then grow their own network. Because I've had everyone ask, how do I, use your course to navigate my network? I said, well, you'll be introduced to my network through my course because sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me. So I teach people how to navigate that aspect and do it again in the most genuine way possible that fits them. Everybody isn't me. Everyone isn't as outgoing and want to speak with. That's fine, but there's a bar that has to be set in terms of you have to build this relationship. This is imperative for you to be a good scout because again, it's not just about the film. That's why we cover all of it,
Mhm. Mhm.
cover every aspect. So it's probably 50-50 just in terms of actual film work, reports and all that stuff, and then all the other stuff that comes with being a scout.
I love the idea because number one, there is such a hole in the market for this, and no one's out preparing people to really do the volume of work that everyone thinks, oh yeah, well I'm gonna go watch, talk to people and talk football all day. You don't know the half of what it
Oh
takes
my God.
when you're addressing all those things. But
Exactly.
I like the fact that and like I say, there isn't a well for teams to draw from, and I think that's a great idea to kind of develop that well, and I wish you best luck. Now, before we go on, give me the URL there. Give me the best way to contact you if you're interested in film room advisory.
Yeah, you can go to filmroomadvisory.com. Um, and all of our services are listed. That's for teams, agencies, and those who want to be scouts. And the best way to contact me is through email, bross@filmroomadvisory.com.
Yeah. And you're also a presence on LinkedIn as well, obviously. So they
Yeah,
can.
I'm on LinkedIn, first and last name, Brandian Ross. I'm really big on LinkedIn. Like I'm on there all day probably. So um, that is another avenue to reach me as well.
And for those of you who don't know, it's a unique spelling of Brandon, Brandian. So
Yes.
don't get tripped up there. All right. So before we go, and we probably could talk for a full hour on this, Brandon, but yeah, because everybody needs hobbies. You're also a podcast host for the Voice of College Football Network
Yep.
when it comes to Texas.
Oh man.
Give me a few seconds on, I mean, obviously, we're coming off, as we record this, we're coming off of a very surprise loss in Gainesville by the Longhorns. What's wrong with Texas this year, man?
Uh, well, on offense, the issue is the O line. They're not getting any push in the run game, and they are struggling to protect Arch. And like as bad as some people want to like put it all on him, oh he's missing. You ever been hitting your head a million times and then have to get up and throw a pass accurately? Like that's just at its core, that's what happened Saturday, and like it's really been happening all year. It's just it got exposed versus a good Florida roster, right? Um, and then defensively, I actually broke down this game last night because I went back and watched it. It was just poor execution. Like the game plan actually wasn't bad, but guys were out of their gap, not setting the edge, and just a bunch of little things. They weren't playing the ball in the air. I mean, it was stuff that's correctable, but ultimately, I think this team needed to be humbled to know that you're more than beatable, right? Because this was a team that was really new in terms of like all of these key pieces, really hadn't done much, right? And they were number one in the country,
Mhm.
and then they were top 10 throughout the last 3 or 4 weeks, and then you lose, and now you're not ranked. So I think they needed to be humbled in that way to know that you have to earn everything that you get from now.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Brandon Ross, Film Room Advisory is the company. Filmroomadvisory.com is the website. You can find them on LinkedIn. Can they find you on social media as well, Brandon?
Yes. I'm on I'm on Twitter. Oh, X. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. 1B Ross.
Okay.
You'll find me.
Okay. Easy enough. If you can't reach out to us and we'll make sure we make the connection. Brandon, thanks for your time, buddy, and best of luck with Film Advisor, my man.
Thanks for having me on, Neil. Appreciate you, man.
Agents, before we go, make sure you go check out Agent Live 360. It is at agentlive360.com for everything you need for your agency, from players to coaches, managing profiles, tracking invoices, sending invoices, getting paid, keeping up on every element of your entire agency. Notification emails, file folder storage, ROI, transactions, invoices, calendar, contracts, teams, reps, everything all in one spot for you. That is Agent Live 360. Hop on, request a demo. Yours truly will hop on, walk you through it. I can promise you we will talk some football as well. Sign up now with code TRIAL90 for a 90-day, 3-month trial at just $10 a month for Agent Live 360. That's at agentlive360.com. Go check it out now.